Hey, Glitch. Hey, John and Volker.
Hi.
Hi, Michael.
Thank you. So, okay, here we go. The first thing I wanted to show, which is easy, and I was telling Dion, Dion was already saying, oh, you're having the light mode on. No, actually, I was just having it on to show it. So here we go. We go to theme and we go to dark mode. And there we are, dark. Which I think is really cool. It's interesting. Something I realized is, and I changed the color in the dark mode here, which is also something you can always do. So I changed the color here of the background, but then I didn't find my way back to the old one, to the original one, which I actually like much better than I think the one that I have now. So I guess I have to go and search for it. But I like the way it is actually, when you can see it here. If I go here on the background color and I go advanced, and then you can see how you can move can you see that, how I move the mouse around and the color changes in real time? I think that's really cool. So I like that. So I can pick a color that I like, and then that's it. So I don't know whether you probably all saw that. I think it's a cool feature. I like it a lot. So I think most of us are happy. Yep. Now you can voice out. Is it good to have the dark mode? Mike, what do you say? Good? Anyone else?
Yeah, I've tried it. It's really nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's nice.
Especially for, evening. Late hours of the day. Much better.
Good. Good.
And so Michael, who are you on the WealthLab, so we know who we're talking to?
MB5413.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a number.
Yeah. It's it's the email that I have for anyone that I suspect could send, spam. And my apologies for suggesting that might be WealthLab, but systematically, any sign up, I always put that email account.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good because you get tons of spam. So as Gmail is pretty good in keeping the spam away. But anyway, yeah. So this was the first thing I wanted to show you. I do have lock screen here. Lock strategy, which is another really fantastic feature. Let me. I have an untitled strategy that I just created, and maybe I should do it again because that would lead to another great feature, which is not on my list, which is the workspaces. Because if I go here and open my workspaces, I can save anything as a workspace. And I have one here that is called, which is my default. Then it opens up completely. So that actually, are you still with me, or did that open up the whole screen?
No, we're still with you.
And you can see everything now, basically?
Yeah.
You can see the whole...
I have one of those, and with 7 or 8 meta. And if I let it on automatic, it will kill WealthLab.
It'll kill WealthLab?
Yeah, completely. It disappears. So I have to restart. So it has a limit somehow. It cannot, auto start maybe more than 4. I can literally run 3 or 4 of them in parallel without problem. But anyone with 6 or 7 or 8 metas put with the option to automatically run, at least.
Yeah, Volker, the workspace menu there, if you click that, you'll see the checkbox automatically run strategies when the workspace is open. That's what he's talking about. So it sounds like he has maybe 7 meta strategies you were saying in the workspace. So yeah, if they're all trying to run at the same time, it looks like you're running into some kind of limit.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that then a RAM limit, or what kind of limit might that be?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but it's not new to WealthLab 8. It happened with WealthLab 7 already. And I'm running a 32 giga machine, which shouldn't be a problem.
I got 16 gigabytes and then I run to limits very quickly here. So I wanted to show you that workspace, which actually threw me totally off. I actually wanted to show you actually this workspace here, which I prepared earlier, which was called here RSI strategy. And this is now opening up, and you can see it now, right?
Yep.
It's here. Good. That was the one that I wanted to show you.
But it's there's only 2 blocks in there, a buy and a sell.
Yeah, I haven't started yet because I wanted to get started with drag and drop the strategies, so or the indicators, and but I wanted to show that this could be in a workspace, and at the end I will make it into a workspace. So simple strategy, indicator, crosses a value. Everyone loves the RSI, crosses under. And we get lots of, we might not even get that many buy signals. And something I like to do always on a quick test is sell after N bars. So take this away very quickly, very good. Something I did the other day was actually using an external symbol. That was cool too. So I could say if the RSI, or if the price is below the 200-day moving average or something. In fact, I might have it here, or it might have been on WealthLab 7. So this was a very quick strategy created. What I like is the optimization. Obviously, we don't want to go ever that high, but so we go like, if it goes a bit low, stop value is, let's make it 10, start value, increment by 1. Now we make it 30, and we increment by 5, and we start by 5, and we have an optimization here. Really, really cool. I mean, 5 probably will never happen. I reduce this to 10, and I can optimize now this strategy. And the feature that I like the best, honestly, is the walk forward optimization. That's my favorite feature of all, because I think this honestly is really showing the true result, because we never know what was the optimum value in 2006, but with this walk forward optimization we can actually know what was the optimized value. So we assume we knew it here, and then it repeats itself. Something that I always like is the expanding window. That is my favorite window, so that I cover all the markets. And you know, I want to use not the NASDAQ 100 because that's a little bit too much. I use the Dow 30 because this is just for example. Another feature that I really, really like is the date range, because now I can name the date range. And I have one that I call bull market from 2000 until today. Actually, I made it a longer date, but so that I don't have to extend it all the time. But the bull market, so I can actually give different date ranges. If I would now make this, let's say 2010, and then I can save it as, what is it here? No, if I save it, 1 second, no, date range, save this as, and I give it a name, but I actually moved back to 2010, and now I can save it and give it a name, and I call it 2000 to 2010 to make it clear to me. And then I have this here. So I can actually switch from one date range to another. My bull is gone, but so I can actually then move to this one and have it there. I don't, Dion, you probably know what I made wrong, that my bull disappeared.
Will you click that remove button?
Ah, okay. So that's what happened. So make this, I make this, I change this, and I make this 2020. So, and make this a 5. And I'm not saving it as anything. So I have this setting now. So this is, but I like the date range settings that I can name it and then test different strategies or different time frames. And what I also have is a percent of equity.
So Volker, just real quick, if you do want to save your bull again, what you should do is go to year range under date range, change it back to year range, and now put in the year range that you want to save.
Ah, okay. So that's good.
Because you had your named range selected. So it was then giving you the option to remove that named range. But now you're in the year range, so go ahead and put in whatever you want, and then you can save it.
Okay, good. That's good. I was a little bit distracted because we had Diego waiting, and I think he's in the room now. So hi, Diego. Hope you are still around, because I did nothing popped up here for me to let you in. I just saw it. Yeah, so this is the date range. So now I can actually give it a new name, right, Dion? So it's 2000 plus, and I have another range here again. So this is really cool, because then you can really switch from different ranges here. That makes it easier, definitely. Earlier you had to change all the dates manually. I mean, this is probably well known: starting capital, position size, percent of equity, fixed value, shares, contracts, all these standard features that WealthLab has and had for the longest time. So I use 5% here. And actually, one window that I urge all of you to look at all the time, because this can be very confusing, is this one. Because here you can actually see which value you're testing. So if I run the optimization now, and I say, well, I don't want to use, let's go back, and I actually use a much lesser time frame. I use 2010, and I use a different benchmark because we're using the down. So if I go to optimization now, and I use a standard optimization, and that should go fairly quick. And here we are. So here are the different values. So if I use the value of 5, the profit wasn't good. I usually go by APR. Well, actually, none of them was really good. But anyway, so let's say we use this one, and then I do a rightmost click and say run a backtest with these parameter values, and this, you can see it here now. It was my standard setting, which was 30, is now overwritten. So this becomes very important, especially if you continue optimizing and you use then the walk forward optimization or symbol by symbol. That's when it really becomes or could be confusing, because then you might not know that you ran an optimization and used the walk forward optimization, and you're still thinking you're running by 25. So that is an important place to look at. What am I actually running here right now? You guys have questions, because I did cover a lot already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not using walk forward. Could you give like a one sentence definition of walk forward compared to standard? What's the difference and the benefit?
Yeah, so the standard optimization that we did just now, it was using the whole period from here 2000 to 2010 in that case, and was optimizing it. and then you got those results. So this is it. Finish. When I started trading, they said, oh, you have to divide your data into two pieces. One where you optimize, or in half, one where you optimize, and the other one as an out of sample. So what I would do now in 2022, if people tell me, I would probably use the data from 2000 and optimize until 2010, and then use the best value for the next 12 years. And if this value is good, I would think, wow, I found a holy grail, I found the number. So that's what you read that a lot of time in the books, and that's how they teach it. But with the walk forward optimization, and especially the expanding window, here it is, you would actually optimize from here. This example here, you could change that. Obviously, you can change it here in the settings.
Yeah, so maybe change it to 4 window intervals. Let's bring it down a little.
Yeah, okay, we have 4 intervals.
Yeah, to make it easier to grasp.
Yeah, so you would now optimize from January 2000 until June 2004, and then check for the next 4 years, roughly, how did my optimized value work? The next thing is you go in December 2008, you go to 2000 until December 2008, optimize those 4 years as well and see what's the best value and apply it for the next 4 years. So you have a much broader optimization window, because you never know where are we now.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically not cheating. So the standard optimization is just seeing what were the best parameters, and then it's using those parameters. So that's kind of cheating. How would you know back in the beginning that those parameters would have worked the best? The walk forward, it figures out the best parameters in one window, and then it applies them in an out of sample window next to it. So it's never really kind of cheating. It's always doing it in a realistic way that you could actually then use in your trading, because you're not relying on information that you wouldn't have any access to at the time.
So when you say you apply, the best value to the next segment,
yeah,
that would be what, literally like the best APR?
Well, you control your target metric. You can optimize for...
No, I understand. Yeah. But I mean, is it like doing a standard optimization?
It is.
Then
yeah.
You get your tabular sheet, and then the top
line
with the best APR becomes your next segment's...
Right, so you can click on any of these now. Right-click on one of them, Volker, and then say view the standard optimization result for this interval. So you can drill down. So now go ahead, click that. And now the standard optimization tab opens up for that interval and shows you all of the values.
Okay.
Interesting, huh?
I didn't even know that. So, but the kind of power that you have, how do I get back to that? I go here.
Still there.
Right?
It's, what do you want to get back to? Yeah. Everything is still there.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing here is that the value, I think, that we optimized was the value big cross below. So that's the one that we optimized. Unfortunately, here it remained the same from 2000 until 2022.
Yeah, in each of the windows, that happened to be the best value.
Yeah, so it happened to be the best value. I guess if we would have used the parameter lengths and would have kept 25, and I probably do that here, not what I intended to do. I know I want to take the optimization completely off.
You just want to uncheck that box at the top.
Yep.
No, up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I then changed this to 25, since we already know cheating now, which is the best. But so now I make this optimizable, and I say I start at 2 and stop at 12, and I'm increment by 2. And hopefully then if we see, if we optimize this one now, going to the optimization tab, and I run the walk forward optimization again, and hopefully we see some changes then. You'll definitely see more changes if you increase the intervals. That's when you see changes. I'm not sure about this one, but I just run it for the sake of checking it out. It only takes a couple of seconds, and that's good, even though it now says 3 hours. Yep. Can you guys still hear me? Because I get a warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. Yeah, my computer is running out of power here. I have to close this. And so in about 9 seconds, unbelievable. It's it's unbelievable. It's 4 again. Throughout all the low period was good.
That's my favorite RSI period, 4.
Yeah, it's just amazing. But you can see that actually the APR with the lower API has increased quite a bit. And you know, if I may take this little walk around, where's that? Here's the heat map. You know, this was optimum, this was out of sample, and then we have this, and everything is green, which is good. You know, that's really a good sign. Everything is green. So you were optimizing this interval and applying that optimized number to the next interval, and it was even better. And then you optimized this interval, obviously because it was all green, because it always came out positive, and it was also better. And only in the last 4 years, it wasn't better. So, but I wanted to show you where's that tab where I can see the service. No, that's not the one. Can't find it now. You know, where I can see the graph, how every indicator was doing, how it was doing.
The 1 parameter graph?
Yeah, the 1 parameter graph. But that only applies to the standard one, is that right?
Yeah, I don't think we have one for WFO. There's only 3 for WFO.
Yeah, but you know, if I would imagine this being in that graph, you would see that all the numbers are good. So you can see that, you know, no matter what number you picked or what period you picked, it always was a good number.
Well, if you right click on one of those and then view the standard optimization again, you should get what you're looking for.
Yeah, I use this one. Run back to
no. View standard optimization.
Oh, you mean here?
No, right click on one of the in sample.
Okay.
And then say view the standard optimization result.
Where do you see that? Save this route as preferred value.
It's item number 1, 2, 3. It's item number 5 from the top.
View the standard. Okay. Yeah, and then I can see it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is this is what I like, because when I would optimize, I would always say I'm not optimizing to find the best value. Obviously, I would probably take the 4 here, but I'm optimizing to see whether I just picked a very lucky number, because if this would be negative, this would be the best, this would be 3, this would be up, this would be down. That would show me that the strategy is not very solid. But something like this tells me, yeah, it seems like the lower numbers are good. And, you know, if it goes further to the longer numbers, that's when it actually is not getting that good. But, you know, no matter which period we are in now, I would still be profitable. according to the history of the past 22 years. So that's how I would interpret a graph like this. So what I really like about this walk forward optimization is, which doesn't make any sense now because everything is 4, would be the right mouse click or actually pressing this button, run out of sample backtest using the WFO parameters. This is just amazing because you would only get those numbers out of samples, and those parameters. And that leads to an extremely very good, not as good as obviously a full optimization, or sometimes maybe it does, but it's leading to an extremely realistic result. So I was talking a lot, and I want to give other people the chance to ask questions because maybe you guys have questions. And I don't have to unplug your microphone, I think.
Nobody else asks. I do have a question about optimizations. If you're familiar with 6.9, remember there was a feature to rank trading systems.
Yeah.
And that feature, unfortunately, was just plain vanilla run backtest for each, trading system in your library, right?
Yeah.
But we have that here. It's under tools.
Yeah.
But that was not your question. Was that your question, or
no? So I've been reading in the forum, and I got the impression that now under on the WealthLab 7 and 8, we should be able to even create code, a C# program that could eventually do a automation on optimization for the equivalent of a ranking process that we have on the tools, right? In other words, is there a way to do the strategy ranking and at the same time optimizing for the value and capture that optimized, say, first, second, third values?
Currently there's no way to do that. Would be interesting though. Do you want to, Volker, do you want to pull up the ranking tool just so we can take a look and see? It's under tools, the tools menu.
Yep.
And then a new strategy rankings window near the bottom.
Got it.
So this lets you drag strategies or even entire folders into this list and then run back tests, like Michael said, on each of them and then compare the results. So the idea to extend this would be to also kind of run an optimization while you're in here. So yeah, that could be, it would definitely take a long time to run all of those, but could be an interesting enhancement to this tool.
And is there a way to do it in a C# type mini program? Because I see C# in WealthLab is able to practically do anything that you could do on the dashboard.
So you're asking, would you be able to achieve something like that in a C# strategy maybe? Well, there is well, before I answer that, Volker, why don't you maybe run this ranking? Let's see how this works. If you click that green button, run back test.
Yeah.
So it's now running all of them in parallel. That one is all 0 and that one is 0. It doesn't. Those just happen to not generate any trades, but now we're starting to get some results.
Yeah, I've never even looked at the sample strategies, but I can imagine that this might be an intraday strategy, and
so you can sort now by whatever metric you want. Kind of see how they performed on your data. Looks like that ultimate oscillator rotation was the best out of the ones you selected. So yeah, Michael, we do have a class in our framework called StrategyRunner. So Volker, if you go to the quick ref, it's that, yeah, it's in that gray bar there, or you could say view quick ref.
In the gray bar where I can see.
Do you see that gray bar on the left where it says strategies? Down right there. So one of those icons above there is the quick ref. It's the book icon. That's kind of a brownish book. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that's the quick ref. Now, if you select a class in there called StrategyRunner.
That is down here.
No, if you go to the top where it says class, you have to select it from that list.
Yeah, StrategyRunner.
Okay, now there are a few different members in here. Let's click run back test. Let's see if the run back test there has some example code. So here's some example code. Let's click that example code button, and we can pop open that example code. So what this does is just opens up a new strategy window with that example code. Let's see. And this one happens to have not been converted properly during the migration from WealthLab 7. So I think, Volker, we're going to need to manually edit this one a little bit. And let me make a note that we need to fix this example in our quick ref. So fix StrategyRunner example. All right, so there were a few minor changes between WealthLab 7 and WealthLab 8 in the code framework. In particular, these factory kind of classes that this is using here on line 23. So Volker, what you'll need to do is after dataset factory, you'll have to type in .instance, I-N, capital I-N, S-T-A-N-C-E dot, and you'll need to get rid of those spaces.
Dot, and then?
No, just one dot, but remove the space.
Okay, yeah.
And there's another space to the left.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then change find data set, just change that to find. Okay, so now try to compile it. That should do it.
So you guys can see that I'm totally...
Okay. So what this is doing is it's creating an instance of this StrategyRunner. It's assigning it a data set, the Dow 30. It is running the backtest in line 24, and it's going to write some results to the debug window. Let's see, it's going to write the net profit of that backtest. So go ahead, just click run backtest, Volker. Let's see what this does here. So it's now running. So it's going to take a little while because it's actually running a whole other backtest, within itself. So now go to the debug window, and we can now see the output. The Neo Master system on the Dow 30 at a net profit of 83,000. So Michael, we did have a request to open up and extend this StrategyRunner to allow it to also do optimization. So that's in our wish list right now. So it's currently not possible, but it's an open item that will develop in the future.
I'll look for it and click it. Thank you.
Okay.
So guys, that was a detour in a wild land. I'm more in the drag and drop space, okay? And I think you can create great strategies just in the drag and drop. I've done a little bit of optimization here. I've showed you this. Something that I haven't showed you yet is locking that strategy. Since I haven't saved it, I can probably not even lock it. I have to save it, give it a name. Could not save the share. It does not have a folder name. What does it not have? Where am I here? I want to save it as, I give it a folder name, and usually I use it in webinar, and call it test, because I'm not very convinced. I'm in the webinar, save it, saved. So now I can actually lock it, and I cannot destroy my great strategy next time I do something. However, you can change the things here. So I can actually change the money management settings. Well, actually, and we haven't even looked at the results. So here are the results, and changing my money management settings was a good thing to do, because as you can see here, the green line is the strategy results, definitely. I'm not sure why there are numbers down here, Dion, and not dates.
That's something that we already addressed. That's rectified in build 5 coming up. It has to do with a fix or a change we made so these equity curve and drawdown curve wouldn't show dates that are weekends. So it was kind of disrupting the intraday equity curve and drawdown graph. So it made a change to fix that. But for non-US regional settings, it had this side effect, but that's already been fixed.
Oh, thank you. So I was having the same issue, Volker. I had reported it.
Okay. Anyway, what I like is that this equity curve is really, really relatively smooth. And as you could see, I was actually changing it from 5 to 10%. I run this strategy again, and gotta be quick here to see the increase. So the equity curve is real. Now I've got dates, by the way. The equity curve is really, nice from this little RSI strategy. But if you go to the monthly return or annual return, it's not really something that you could get excited about. But it is definitely something that has an APR of 3.8%, which is not that much.
Now, Volker, weren't you good? Didn't you have on the agenda for this one to show that strategy that Robert developed?
Oh, yeah. That's something I had on the agenda for today. I definitely want to show that to you, because Robert came to the team and said, wow, I found this thing. It's I let the evolver run for I don't know how many days. and it came up with this rule. And
so yeah, real quick, Robert is Cone on our website, and he used our tool in WealthLab 8, the genetic evolver. Do you want to open that up real quick?
Yep.
Take a look at that. So for people who aren't familiar with it, a new strategy genetic evolver window.
Yeah.
So what this does is Volker, if you click these items now in the list, you'll see.
Yeah, I want to change first that data set before it starts running on 1,000 symbols.
Yeah.
And
So if you click some of these items like strategy 1, strategy 2, just click them. You could see what that strategy is on the right. So what this tool does is it basically generates random strategies. It just uses these building blocks and randomly throws things together, and then just runs back tests on all of them and goes through generation after generation, taking the best performers and mutating them. And you can arrive at some interesting strategies sometimes with this. So yeah, maybe let's open up that one that Robert created using this evolver.
Yep. Here's the ranking. Okay, I can minimize this one.
Is this evolver changing the strategies parameters like optimization?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so I think I imported it. Oh yeah, and here it is. Evolver strategy number 9. Just great here. Now this is the this is so funny. Buy at limit 0% below. So yesterday's low is your buy. Is volume is less than volume of 3 bars ago.
Okay, that wasn't the rule though.
Was it? Oh, did I add it?
Yeah, I think you must have changed it.
Ah, yeah, I was playing around with it. So what was it?
It was actually close is less than volume of 3 bars ago.
Yeah. It was close is less than volume of 3 bars ago. Okay, makes no sense, but it was, well, I can change it and say close.
Yeah, the evolver can come up with, what appear to be nonsensical rules. I mean, anything goes basically. It'll, it doesn't have many constraints. So in this particular case, I mean, if we look at this rule, it would actually filter out stocks like Berkshire Hathaway, where the volume is huge, or where the closing price is, very large compared to the volume. That stock would get filtered out. But typically, I would say this is like a nonsense rule. So in this condition, typically won't even apply, when you run it, because we're not going to run into any stocks like that in our back test. But it is something that the evolver generated. So, I just kind of wanted to show that quirky, kind of output that the evolver can sometimes generate.
Yeah, and I could actually, I tested it, I disabled it, and it didn't make any change.
Yeah, and there's 2 exits. So there's one exit at a profit target, and then there's a exit when the ultimate oscillator is less than 73. So those are the 2 exit criteria.
Yep. So, and obviously we want to run it, and well, this was the setting that it came up with, and I can actually quickly run it. Should go fairly quick. Even though, and this is something that for those who might not know, most important thing is here we use non-survivorship data. We use the data, and we only, since we are testing on the NASDAQ 100, and we have the data that is actually, stocks that are in the NASDAQ 100 now were not in the NASDAQ 100 10 years ago, many of them. And in fact, you can see that in the past 20 years, in the NASDAQ 100, there were 307 symbols. So the NASDAQ 100 has changed a lot. And a lot of software, a lot of people make the mistake and test on the current NASDAQ 100. And, obviously, Tesla, Facebook, blah, blah, everything that you buy today, or there's another stock, it would blow you away. Just like this strategy did. Look at this. We started with, I think, 100,000, and we are now at 700 million. What do you think?
I would think too good to be true.
Yes, you can voice out your opinions and tell me what you think about it. The first thing I would look at is the NSFs, which is actually quite okay.
Well, the evolver will kick out strategies that have too high of an NSF count compared to the total number of trades.
Well, but you can see we have 83,000 trades and 90,000.
Yeah. So the NSF ratio is 1.1.
Yeah, so more stocks were not taken. So every time I run this strategy, I get a new equity curve. Funny enough, it would always be very close, as good as this one.
Yeah, and you can even analyze that in the Monte Carlo lab extension. You don't have that installed, but it's one of our extensions. Monte Carlo lab will take your result and run 1,000 or however many different runs you want using a different combination of the trades and show you, kind of what your expectation, would be with that strategy, your best case, worst case. So that's something to look at for something like this. Monte Carlo lab.
Yeah. So when we talked about it in the team, I was saying, I think I already know what the problem is of the strategy. And, it actually looks less obvious here now, but it was more obvious on a different run, and which is the average profit per trade. 0.2% is a very, very low margin to take as an average profit. It's the average profit of all the trades. But while we are talking, I'm running the same strategy again, and I'm sure this number will change dramatically. Or, I would probably think dramatically. And I think it's going down because last time I looked, it was down. So something that I think, that large hedge funds probably are able to do is like they have traders sitting there making sure that, they get the opening price and everything is working. They have to work each and every trade. And then to produce exactly the result that the software is producing in hindsight, that could be possible. I was always thinking that this guy from Renaissance is probably using strategies that have this low average profit, and therefore he gets this great results. Because if you look at the result here now, it's still the same. Wow, interesting.
It's even higher, see?
Yeah, it's even higher.
So let's look at some of the positions. Let's kind of analyze it a little. So if we click positions.
One second. I wanted to show you APR 52%. Dream, right? 51%. I tell everyone not possible. Look at all these results here. Amazing. I mean, even the down markets here in 2000 until 2002, this system was making tons of money. Amazing. Anyway, so we're looking at the positions, and we've got Netflix here. Want me to open Netflix?
Sure.
Who wants to look at Netflix and start crying? Well, it bought actually right here after the drop, obviously.
Well, it actually bought right there again on the last bar, yeah.
It bought it again.
So what it's doing is it's buying at the low of the previous bar.
Yeah. And
then basically usually selling the next day. I mean, it's rare for it to hold more than one day. If you go to positions and sort by bars held.
I think it's still sorting. Here's a couple.
So, there's very few positions that are held more than one day, but let's look at one of them. Let's look at the one that was held 15 days.
Yeah.
And that was because that ultimate oscillator was above that 73 for all of that time. You see that big bullish trend that this was in. That's why it held it for that long. It wound up not selling it until that ultimate oscillator went below 73. So yeah, it's an interesting system, like something that I would never have come up with on my own. But to have the evolver randomly generate that, to look at and consider and see, try to debunk it basically, can it really be this good? I mean, I think, one of the things is that this strategy generates a buy signal, a limit order for every single stock every single day. So, WealthLab will, out of all those candidate trades, WealthLab will, kind of randomly pick which ones to take when there's more trades than equity. So that's one factor. I mean, another factor for any limit order system is, it is possible that you wouldn't have been able to get the trade at that limit price. I mean, look at some of them are catching like the very low of the bar. I mean, in reality, maybe, you wouldn't have been able to get it at that price. So that's also a consideration I found with any limit order based system.
Can you say more about the weight? Can we look at the trades again?
The positions?
No, not the positions. The signals.
The chart?
The signals. Okay, yeah.
And the weight, last column to the right.
Well, the weight, yeah, the weights are random right here, but you can put in your own weight if you have your strategy and you, like, say you have say your strategy buys a large number of stocks every day. You can put in your own weight. So WealthLab will then prioritize the candidates and take the ones with the highest weight based on whatever you set.
Or the lowest?
No, WealthLab will use the highest weight value.
Okay, so if I say RSI lowest value?
Well, right. What you're doing here is you're using the building block to generate the weight. And here you can say lowest or highest within this building block. And so the way this works is if you say lowest, it'll actually multiply the RSI by -1. So it'll multiply that by -1 to ensure that you're getting the lowest RSI values. So normally, the weights are highest. So, but behind the scenes, what this will do is it'll multiply that value by -1, and then that's basically weighting it by the lowest RSI values.
So I actually ran it. I'm not sure whether you guys are familiar with the transaction rate, but as Dion explained, you can actually, with the transaction rate, make sure that it only picks the stocks that fulfill an additional criteria. And in that case, I just used the RSI 4 because we used it before. And I ran the same strategy, but this time the results should be all the same. And it'll be the same whenever I run the same strategy. So this is another way to basically say we had 128 or 100, it was probably 100 buying signals, and you don't have enough cash, then you can actually reduce the signals. Well, it doesn't reduce the signals, but
what it's doing is it's ensuring that you're always buying the same positions because it's sorting them by your weight value instead of just randomly determining them.
And you could see that I put this transaction rate into it, and my equity curve went down to 440 million. A little bit disappointing.
Well,
but
you'll still be able to buy that island.
Yeah, I know. It's on my list already. You are all invited. Anyway, especially Robert. No, but these kind of things, this strategy is sounds crazy, but I mean, it's amazing. Look at the monthly results. Here it is. I mean, amazing results. I would not, I would be probably, as Dion said, the buying at a limit, you might not get it. I mean, especially you're not getting it once you reach these levels where you buy 122,000 Apple stocks at 161.
Well, that's another factor to if you're concerned about like the effect that your trade will have on the market, you could go to preferences, backtest settings. I mean, if you're at a stage where you're worried about this, then good for you. That's great. But you can, under other settings there, you can put in a volume limit so that the maximum number of shares that you'll be able to buy in a backtest is a certain percentage of that bar's volume. So this is a way you can mitigate that factor and keep your backtests a little more realistic.
Yeah, so I put it to 1%, and just to make sure that we are not getting so many windows. Here we are back to the Evolver 9 strategy. And I run it again. So you see the backtest results. I put the equity curve because it's easier to see. I run it again. And now we only use on every day, obviously, since we know how much the volume is, but we only use 1% of the total volume of any symbol. So that will reduce the definitely the overall profit. And in Apple, we are not buying 162,000 stocks anymore. We probably buy.
I mean, what's the daily volume on Apple?
Well, let's open the chart and see. I'm running too many things here right now, and 16 gigabyte is not enough. And but I'm curious to see what the effect is. But you can see the point here is, once you reach a certain level, or if you're a big hedge fund, I don't know how many big hedge funds are on the call, then you can basically say, oh, we don't want to move the market just by our order. And it's still running. So we still have to wait a little. But we are just about, we've got our hour. So, but I want to see the result.
Yeah, we'll see this result and then take any final questions.
Yeah. So now you see, if you reduce your position size to 1% of the volume of that stock on any given day, then your equity curve went down to 110 instead of 450. Still an APR of 35. And yeah, we're coming closer to a Renaissance fund, which I read had a losing year last year.
There's actually a couple of losing years now.
In 2018 and in 2021. And that could have been because we couldn't buy the volume of the good stocks. And that was then reducing the profits.
But yeah, like I said, if you're, in practical terms, if you're worried about that, then good for you. Those are the kind of problems to have, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in practical terms, literally out of the 128 signals, assuming you have capital limitation, right? What would WealthLab use as criteria?
It'll use the weight that you saw.
But you said it was random.
It's random, yeah. So it's basically random unless you put in the weight. But this time Volcker did put in a weight. So it's actually it's picking the stocks with the lowest RSI 4 value.
So we've got 128 stocks now, but this is alphabetic. And I wanted to see what the volume is of, 160,000 stocks would not be 1% of 80 million stocks traded in Apple. Anyway, going back to these 128, that was something I was wondering, Dion, because I don't know, let me see, backtest results, equity curve, how much do we have left here? And in terms of equity, 83 million, that's still enough to buy a couple. And I was wondering why I see 128s, whereas I can only buy maybe 20 or 30 stocks right now. Any idea there?
What was the question?
See, if I go to my positions and I go to my open positions on top, I have 21 open positions, so I can only buy 79 stocks right now, right? And but I have more than 79 signals.
Yeah.
I know if I use the wealth signals to place the orders, it will pick the right ones based on my transaction rate. But what happens if I put it into IB or whatever, Fidelity brokerage account? What will then happen? Do I place 100 symbols or do I place?
You could use the order manager. I mean, maybe we could cover that at the next webinar since we're kind of running out of time. But yeah, you could put these signals in the order manager, let that track them. There's That would probably be how I would do it.
Okay.
Volker, did you just say you send these orders to Fidelity? How do you do that?
What I would do is I would send them to the order manager, and then the order manager will stream in the data, and it'll look for the ones that are, reaching their limit, and then the ones that reach the limit, it will then send to the broker. But we don't have a connection to Fidelity, so you couldn't do it with Fidelity.
Oh, I was just wondering what Volker was saying. So are you saying the order manager actually doesn't release an order until it hits the limit?
The order manager, or the quotes tool. Did I say order manager? I meant to say the quotes tool. Sorry about that.
I see. Oh.
So yeah, you'd send it to the quotes tool. There's a button right there to do that. Send open positions to quotes.
Mm-hmm.
It's right next to the open positions to the top.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd send them all to the quotes window, and then you could even activate it now. Maybe Volker select Yahoo as a streamer, and then just say stream. So what it'll do is it'll pick up the live prices, and any ones that are triggered, you can then configure that to send those orders to the whatever broker you select here. So you can auto stage, auto place. So this is how I would implement the system. Because
this is a great way. There are brokers where you can not place 100 orders and saying only 20 get filled, right? This quotes tool allows you to say, okay, here are my 21 orders, and whenever one gets triggered, send it to the broker, because that is a great thing. So Netflix got bought just now, or is that what I'm seeing here? This is a great way to even sort them by which is actually closest or furthest away, and really an amazing feature here. It's a great tool for trading limit systems, and we don't have an API to Fidelity. And I guess you sounded like you are a Fidelity customer.
I think most of us were, because that's how we started with WealthLab.
Yeah. I don't know. We've got lots of new customers, so who didn't want to go the Fidelity route. So
are there any other final questions, like Diego or Roderick? Do you guys have any questions? Otherwise, we can call this one.
Okay.
No, thank you. I must think about everything, and surely I will feel a lot of questions as I am just starting.
Sure, yeah. Feel free to jump in next time with any questions you happen to think of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you can, if you want, you can even ask them up front, and then we can cover things like this. I mean, that was now a long way. I mean, we covered a lot. We went from hardcore C# programming to walk forward optimization. I mean, this was deep. This was, in my opinion, deep. I think a lot of people walk forward optimization. I'm glad I don't have Monte Carlo Lab installed, because otherwise we would have covered that too. So no, I think even for you, Michael, we went quite some routes, things that you haven't seen, things that I sometimes haven't seen, as you could see. And I'm always glad to have Dion here. And Diego, that was deep. And if you're not really deep into it, that was maybe too much, but it just shows the power of WealthLab and the things you can do. And the one thing that I think was the most important thing about WealthLab is do a realistic backtesting and analysis. So we've got the data, at least for the US market and the German market, without the survivorship. We have tools and whistles that actually help you not to cheat and not doing wrong optimization and things like this. There's a lot you can do wrong on this in this field, and a lot of people tell you a lot of wrong things because they don't know, So but WealthLab is doing I think, a great job, and there's a lot of things you can do. So and this was a deep dive, in my opinion, and not really very deep, but quite deep. But if you have questions, Diego or Roderick, just send them earlier or type them in, or however you feel like doing it. Then we may be able to address them upfront or during that next session that we have next week on Monday, I think, again. So
yep, every Monday we'll do a webinar. We'll do a standing.
How do we find out about these webinars? I mean, I completely missed the previous one.
We do post them on our forum on the website. So if you just kind of check the forum once in a while, you'll see.
I do, but then okay, people were complaining they missed the April 3, and I figured, is this a repeat from April 3 or just a complete separate one?
No, we had it since a couple of weeks, and last week we didn't have it because I was sick, and it was an Eastern holiday here in Germany, and so we didn't have it. But other than that, we had it already, 4 or 5 of them. So and we might be doing, and as I said, I expected many more, but you know how it goes. But we might be doing others on special topics if there's enough interest. We can do other webinars if there's interest in it. I just feel, or if Roderick or Diego, we can have a half-an-hour session one-on-one if you feel like it. If you need to get to know some stuff that you're eager to find out. So we are here to help you guys to make good decisions. So, and make a lot of money in trading. Dion and I were talking before about it. It'll be, I think it won't be straight up anymore. I think those days, no, not anymore. We'll see some interesting times, in my opinion. But what do I know? I rather ask Jim Cramer. Good. So, nothing else?
Thank you so much. It's been really helpful.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone for being here, and hope to see you next week. Talk to you guys then.
Bye.
I will.